Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
I am that dude, Bodkins. Patty to patty. It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy. Give a big round of applause for the one and only Bodkin Show. I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show.
Uh-oh. Why is it playing twice? There it goes. Hey, welcome to good morning, good evening, folks. Welcome to another great LTS show. I am your host, Bodkins, as always. The intro is playing again. It's all good. Man, we got a jam-packed show for you tonight. We're halfway through the season. Some teams that started off really, really hot, i.e. the 49ers, i.e. the Chiefs losing to the Broncos, something that we haven't seen in forever. Man, some teams that weren't very good are starting to win, i.e. the Broncos. Maybe the Vikings, but it seems like Kirk Cousins towards Achilles, so maybe not the Vikings. Lots of injuries today. We'll get into all of that as well. To help me bring about it, we just got one guy tonight. My guy, the Hall of Famer, Scott Cobe, joining me as always. Scott, what's up, my man?
Not much. Those Kansas City receivers are making Patrick Mahomes look like Desmond Ritter / Mac Jones all of a sudden. They're terrible. I agree with Tanner.
Yeah.
They're awful.
Unfortunately, no Johnny Cruz tonight. He is headed to Miami to pump them full and say, hey, I'm tired of everybody saying we are dogs or we are frauds. Can you guys pick it up? So he is trying to give his team a speech there as they get ready to head to Germany to face those the Chiefs. My brain is farting out today.
Is he doing that, or is he having a German speaking class before they go to Germany?
Maybe both. I think he's trying to get on the plane so he can kind of rally the troops a little bit. So
Yep. No doubt.
I mean, shockers today. The Broncos, beat the Chiefs. We were all in on the Bengals beating the 49ers. I guess really the main shocker today is that Chiefs Broncos game. The Broncos, are they turning this thing around or just two good games back and forth? I mean, they played the Chiefs pretty tough a couple weeks ago, and then they won today.
Yeah, they did. It was 19-8. It's a little bit deceiving. Denver didn't play a good game in Kansas City. That was number one. Number two, I think the drops by the receivers of Kansas City didn't allow them to get some continuity in the game. I think every time they get started, there was another drop, or there was a missed assignment, or whatever it may be. So,
yeah,
I want to say it's 60-40 in terms of the Broncos. Maybe they're a little bit better than they were at the start of the season. Number one, and number two, the Kansas City offense didn't do Patrick Mahomes any favors today. So,
yeah, they didn't. It seemed like he was kind of getting under pressure. Offensive, weapons were dropping the ball. You're the Chiefs. You got to score more than 9 points. So also kudos to the Broncos defense as well. Seem to be playing a little bit better. As far as like this week and last week. My Packers absolutely freaking stink. Your Patriots absolutely freaking stink. But at least it gives me solace to know that Tanner talked all that shit about my Packers losing to the Broncos, and then the Chiefs turn around the next fucking week and lose to the Broncos. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, I watched some of that Packers game today, and they were Jordan Love. Oh, experiment's got to be over with him at the end of the year.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think it is. He's our guy for the next year, at least.
I don't either, unless they somehow say, "Oh, we're going to draft a quarterback for the first time for forever," which I don't think they will. I agree with you. What you said earlier today is they'll go defense again, but he's bad.
Maybe we suck bad. Maybe we suck bad enough when we get Harrison Jr. I don't know. Again, and I said this morning's show, and we'll get into it later here too. But I don't know if it's him the receivers don't seem to get a whole lot of separation,
Right.
and some of the throws he makes aren't very good. So maybe he is throwing in tighter windows. He doesn't have anybody that is ever seems to be open, but he's also doesn't, to me, is just short routes, just these quick passes. Nothing's ever downfield. They struggle to get in the end zone. That to me is play calling. If you can't score in this league, that's sometimes play calling. So I don't know if it's LaFleur. I don't know. It's the whole fucking thing to me. I mean, blow this whole thing, fire everybody at this fucking, you know what I mean? If maybe we don't win another game the next year, the rest of the year. And if we don't, then they got to fire everybody. Guti, LaFleur, Love, get them all out. Everybody get out.
Yeah, and the other thing I saw today a lot was Christian Watson get no separation and allow the defensive back to get in front of him when he was getting thrown the pass. You're not going to fight to try to get the pass. He just stood there and said, I'm going to reach over and get the pass. You can't do that. You got to get in front of the guy, or you got to get separation so Jordan Love can find you the ball. I mean, Romeo Dobbs was the only one that got the separation today. So, yeah, it wasn't his fault. I agree, Greg, with you.
That wasn't his fault. The guy just took it right out of his receiver's hand. He placed it where his receiver could get it, and his receiver. No, it wasn't his fault. And today, not all of. I mean, but they didn't have a first down until 4 minutes left to the first half. That can't happen.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean. That's just. It's not all on Love. Like that's on everybody. You know.
I 100% agree. I just think the Packers have regressed. It's not all Aaron Rodgers leaving. It's receivers got to get open. Aaron Jones is getting limited touches now. A.J. Dillon led the team again in receiving today. And it's 2 weeks in a row. I mean, come on, really? A.J. Dillon's leading you in receiving? I don't know. This doesn't give me any fuzzy feeling that they're going to win any more games this year. So
it doesn't me either. Let's jump into the rest of the games today, and we'll talk about all the injuries as well. Speaking of injuries, let's get into it. Jets, Giants. Giants were already without Danny Dimes. And then in this game, Tyrod Taylor gets hurt, and they go with Danny DeVito's cousin, maybe his nephew. Tommy DeVito enters the game, plays the half. And Scott, the Giants only threw for 14 times today and for a total of 7 yards. They almost win this game. That's how crazy it is. They were up 10-7. And then they were going to kick a field goal with about 30 seconds left. They missed the field goal. Jets score, get a chance. They go down, kick the game-time field goal, then kick the field goal in overtime. The Giants, I just said, out of receiving, there's absolutely nothing to talk about. They only threw the ball 7 times. Saquon Barkley, 13 carries for 128 yards. They were trying to win this game just on Barkley alone. Zach Wilson, not a great game, but again, enough to keep his team in the game, right? No bonehead plays. 17-36, 240 yards, 1 touchdown. Breece Hall, 12 carries, 17 yards. The Giants defense was shutting, kudos to the Giants defense. They were shutting things down as well. Dalvin Cook, who bitched and moaned about his touches, and they said, "Yeah, we'll get you more. How about 2?" Garrett Wilson had 7 receptions for 100 yards. Breece Hall had 6 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Scott, your thoughts on the Jets, Giants, and Tyrod ended up going to the hospital, so as well in that game. So who knows how long he'll be out and if Danny Dimes comes back or not. And we might be with DeVito.
Yeah, because I read a report this morning that said Daniel Jones has no feeling down one side of his body still. It's weak. So I can't imagine in a week's time he's going to be ready to go to play an NFL game against anybody. So I agree with you. I think it's Tommy DeVito next week. The Giants really screwed the pooch on this game. They really did. I mean, Zach Wilson made some big throws at the end of the game to get them in field goal range, and then they won it in overtime. So the Giants get what they deserve. They got what they deserve today. They screwed the pooch big time. So.
Yeah, I think so too. Man, the Giants, they make that field goal. You got to look at the field goal because then it's like 30 seconds left and they have a chance to score, kick that game. If they make the field goal, then the Jets probably have to go down and score a touchdown. They don't have no timeout, so they probably are not able to do that. Maybe get a shot in. But kudos to the Jets. They were running that 2-minute drill. I feel like, to me, and this goes back to Jordan Love too a little bit. Some of these younger guys run that 2-minute drill better than they do the whole offense. I don't know, like, so if I'm a team, like, what can we do to get this 2-minute drills? Is it the quick hurry up? Hey, not so much subbing out, or less thinking. It's just quicker pace, like quick one read and go. What's your thoughts there, Scott? Because that's just how I see it. It seems like these younger quarterbacks at least.
It seems like when a quarterback doesn't have to think and call plays, he's a little bit more freer in the offense. And sure enough, Zach Wilson, when he isn't calling plays or getting something from the sidelines, he seems to work a lot better. And Garrett Wilson, you know, he's, as we were talking pre-show, he's a guy that gets open almost all the time. Every time he gets thrown a pass, he's wide open. So he knows exactly where to go, what to do in the offense. And I just think that the Jets at 4-3 could be a dangerous team here. They could really be a dangerous team. But if I'm Salah, I'm working on that 2-minute drill and saying, okay, let's come out and let's try this next game. Let's just go 2-minute up tempo and see what happens. Maybe you get a better Zach Wilson than you get in the past.
Yes. So the Giants do fall to 2-6. Their next week, they got the Raiders. So maybe Danny DeVito's nephew is starting there against the Raiders. So, man, if you're the Giants, you almost don't want Danny Dimes to come back. Just play it out with DeVito and just suck the rest of this year and try to get one of these quarterbacks. And maybe that helps you. I don't know how they ate a lot of money. They're gonna have to eat some money with Dimes, but I don't know. What's your thoughts there, Scott?
Yeah, I would agree. I think you probably just need to say, and this is a Kyler thing too, because as we'll get to later, Arizona lost again today. You're not going anywhere. You have no hope of making the playoffs in a weak NFC conference. Yeah. So to me, I would just say to Daniel Jones, who's had neck injuries throughout his whole football career, listen, I think we'll put you on the IR. We need to shut you down, and you need to get 100% healthy. Because you put the guy back out, he takes one shot, and if his neck isn't fine, he's done. He's basically done. It could be career. So that's what people are talking about. So yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Shut him down. Just shut him down.
What's up, Mikey? So also shout out. You mentioned the Jets making the playoffs. I'm looking at the Jets rest of their season right now. They got the Chargers next week. That's a winnable game. That game's on Monday Night Football. They got the Raiders. That's winnable. The Bills. I mean, they beat the Bills once, right? So who knows?
Who knows?
They got the Dolphins. I would probably favor the Dolphins heavily in that game. Yep. Then they got two more winnable games: Falcons and Texans, 2 winnable games. Then they got the Dolphins again, and probably another loss. Then they got the Commanders winnable, Browns winnable, Patriots winnable. I mean, they got a favorable schedule.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They've survived the toughest part of their schedule. The rest of the way is winnable games. Maybe week 15, 16. Aaron Rodgers was on the field today throwing the ball again.
Yeah, we saw that this morning.
Yeah, I mean, if he comes back at week 15, 16, gets his feet underneath him, why not? Why not, Jets? Why not make the playoffs and have a chance? And once you're in, anything's possible.
Yeah, if you have 8 wins going into the last 3 weeks, 7 or 8 wins, if he's ready to go, you have to play him. You have to play Aaron Rodgers. You can't if he's your franchise quarterback right now. You got to play him, and then you can win those last 3 games and get yourself into the playoffs because all the teams
if he can play at least 2 games before the playoffs to kind of get that rust off of him.
Yeah.
Why not? You know what I mean? So
we're right back talking about the Jets again.
Yeah. And then the Jets will have a chance. Let's get into another hurt quarterback. Kenny Pickett gets hurt in this game for the Steelers. I think it's something with his shoulder. In comes Mitch Trubisky. The Jags win 20-10 in a Travis Etienne type game. 24 carries, 79 yards. Trevor Lawrence 24-32, 292 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Evan Ingram, 10 receptions, 88 yards. Calvin Ridley finally got involved. He had 6 for 83. ETN had 3 for 70 in a receiving touchdown. Again, Trubisky hurt for the Steelers. Kenny Pickett was 10 of 16, 73 yards. And then, Mitch does what Mitch does, throw 2 interceptions. Scott does have the 1 touchdown. Jalen Warner, 5 carries for 19 yards. Najee Harris, 17 carries for 13 yards. Jesus. Deontay Johnson had a huge game, 8 for 85. They forgot George Pickens was on the team besides one play, Scott, and that was for a touchdown. I mean, if the Steelers aren't going to win very many games by George Pickens only having 1 touch.
I agree. You texted it out to the group chat, and all of a sudden George Pickens caught the touchdown pass. So I was like, maybe he's going to text more about Pickens. But yeah, 1 catch, 22, a touchdown. I mean, come on, really? You're forgetting about your most explosive offensive piece in the right, Andy. You forget about your most explosive offensive piece all day today, basically. Matt Canada, as we said this morning, needs to go.
And now they're stuck with Mitch at the helm. I think I haven't heard how long Kenny Pickett's going to be out, but it probably at least a week or 2. If it's sounds like an AC shoulder joint, is what they were saying.
Yeah, if he's out for any length of time, Mitch Trubisky is not going to win them any games. So they've gone from a potential playoff team to a team that's not. It's not going to go. So.
Yeah, that was we talked about it. That was a big game for both teams, right? Because they had to win, to kind of stay pace. Here come the Bengals now winning today, 4-3. Steelers fall back to 4-3. Ravens continue to roll. I know the Steelers got the 1 win over them. Browns lost today, so everybody kind of loses, and the Ravens have gained, more ground on everybody. And for the Jags too, now you were able to gain ground on everybody as the Texans lost, Colts lost. So now you're trying to separate yourself. So,
yeah, the Jaguars division is looking all of a sudden like the AFC West with the Chiefs, where they just can name how many games they're going to win by this year. So,
yeah, Craig says Canada dink and dunks all game to take 1 big shot to George Pickens. Probably so. That's probably exactly what happens.
George Pickens is a receiver that you need to get involved early. It's like DK Metcalf at Seattle. Get him involved early, and then as the game goes on, get him 3 or 4 more throws or whatever it may be. But when you go 2.5 quarters without getting the guy involved, and then he catches 1 ball, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Keep running Najee into the line. That's what you should do. Keep running Najee into the line.
Well, Najee's not going nowhere. He just neither Warren or kudos to the Jags. The Jags lead the league in turnovers, by the way, as far as forced turnovers, their defense.
Yeah, they had
12 or 17.
Yeah, they had one to pick it through that was right in the guy's hands because it was raining out so hard. He just let it slip through his hands, but that would have been another touchdown for Jacksonville. So.
It seems, Scott, it seems like the Commanders can only play the Eagles tough, and they did it again. And then next week they'll get blown out by somebody, whoever they play next week. They lose to the Philly 38-31. This is a back-and-forth game. Jalen Hurts, 29 of 38, 319 yards, 4 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, 16 carries, 57 yards, 1 touchdown. A.J. Brown, 8 receptions, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Devontae Smith, 7 for 99 and a touchdown. Julio Jones caught a ball for a touchdown, folks. Welcome back to the league, Julio. And then Sam Howell, 39 of 52, 397 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. It was a bad pick. And then Brian Robinson Jr., 10 carries, 59 yards. Jahan Dotson finally has a breakout game, 8 for 108 in a touchdown. Jamison Crowder, man, I didn't even know Jamison Crowder was still in the league, 7 for 95 in a touchdown. Terry McLaurin, 5 for 63 in a touchdown. Logan Thomas, 6 for 44 in a touchdown. They were throwing it all over. They said, we're not running this ball today.
The popcorn
throw it all over. And they threw it all over, and they still lost.
Yeah, Washington does what they do against Philadelphia. They play close games and lose. Julio and Jameson Crowder have 2 rooms next to me and Keith in the retirement home. This is not 2013. This is 2023. So where they came from, who knows? I thought Dallas Goedert caught a touchdown. I didn't know it was Julio until I looked at the box score. I'm like, oh my God, Julio caught one for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But yeah. Philly kept Washington in the game. You know, they Washington was in the lead almost the whole game up until like late third quarter, and then Sam Howell threw a bad interception and they scored. Yeah. Jalen Hurts didn't run a lot today. He threw, and that, you know, he's a good quarterback, and he found Devonta Smith and he found AJ Brown, and Dallas got it when he needed to. So they're the best team in the NFC. You know, San Francisco has kind of shown that out now. That
they got the best record in the NFL right now, right? One loss. So.
Yeah, Miami's got 2 and Kansas City has 2 now. So yeah.
Yeah. So they have the best record. They look like the best team. You know, especially in the NFC. You know, you can make a case for Dolphins and Chiefs in the AFC, but in the NFC, it's the Eagles, and I don't know anybody else right now.
Seattle's probably the second best team right now in the NFC, and that
we'll get to them. They're leading the AFC NFC West right now. So
yep, they are. So.
Let's get into the next game. It's Rams got taken to the woodshed and beat down. Stafford was hurt, and then here comes Brett Rippon. I wonder if is he related to Mark Rippon, the old Commanders, Redskins quarterback? I think he is actually. So.
Yeah, I believe so.
But Brett Rippon comes in before Stafford gets hurt. 13 of 22, 162 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rippon had 5 for 10 for 42. Royce Freeman, 9 carries, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Darrell Henderson, 12 for 31. I mean, nothing going on in the receiving game here. Tutu Atwell, 2 receptions. Cooper Kupp only had 4. Puka only had 3, so it's just a bad game. And if we all know, if Stafford's hurt for any time, count the Rams out for, you know, the rest of the year. It seemed like his hand was pretty heavily bandaged. Dak Prescott goes 25 for 31, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. Tony Pollard, 12 carries, 53 yards. Dak Prescott ran for 4. CeeDee Lamb, huge game for CeeDee, 12 for 158 and 2 touchdowns. Cooks had 3 for 49 and a touchdown. Jake Ferguson, 4 for 47 and a touchdown. Scott, thoughts on Rams Cowboys?
Boy, CeeDee Lamb, where's this CeeDee Lamb been all year long? He was immense.
Yeah.
I was watching Red Zone. They had a lot of that Dallas game on today. He was awesome. That defense got them started, and Dak just picked it up on offense when they get the ball. A lot of short fields for the Cowboys. They got a safety. Rams punt the ball off to them. Dallas returns it to the Rams 20. So a lot of short fields. If I agree with you, Stafford's out. The Rams are a no-go. They're done. And this is another finger injury and another injury to Stafford that we knew was coming, but when? And now it's here. So
yeah. Let me ask you this, Scott. Who's in the best shape as far as backups? I mean, we saw 3 guys go down today. I mean, Jones is already out. So you got DeVito going for the Giants possibly next week. I don't even know who the Vikings backup quarterback is that came in for Kirk Cousins and tore it after he tore his Achilles. So the Vikings, I think actually that it's weird to say it, but the Steelers might be in the best spot with Mitch Trubisky. At least, he's semi-serviceable.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's the Steelers. Trubisky is not great, but he's better than the other guys. I mean, like we were saying in the group chat, who the heck is Tommy DeVito? Where the heck did he come from? That's how bad the Giants organization is right now, is they have no depth.
Yeah.
And it's bearing out.
Well, I mean, any team that's going to their third string quarterback, I probably couldn't tell you. The Cowboys are the only team I could tell you their third string quarterback, and that's just because I know Trey Lance got traded there. But outside of that, you probably couldn't tell you whatever the third string quarterback on any team is. Yeah. I couldn't tell you the third string quarterback on Green Bay's team. Somebody off the practice squad. No, it's Clifford's the backup, so they'd have to activate the third guy.
The Patriots is Malik Cunningham. That's the only reason he's back on the practice squad again. But the Steelers are in much better shape because Trubisky at least has played before. He's not great, but he's played before, so you know what you're getting from him. So,
yeah. I mean, we saw, and we'll get to the game later too. Tennessee. It looks like, who knows? Maybe they go with Heineke in as Ritter was a concussion, but he cleared concussion protocol, and they still sat him as well. So,
yeah, I would go with Heineke. Heineke looks a lot better than Desmond Ritter right now, for sure. So,
yeah, and you've been saying that for 2 weeks or more. Yeah,
it's time. If you want to win that division or make the playoffs, Taylor Heineke's your best option. Desmond Ritter's terrible. Desmond Ritter's awful. He's beyond awful. He's bottom 3 quarterback in the NFL for me.
Ooh, man.
Yeah.
As a starter.
There's not many worse than him. There's not many worse than
Jordan
him.
Love. Jordan Love might be right now.
Yeah. Mac Jones has made a run for it too. He's had one good game out the whole year. So maybe 2. So
Zach Wilson's not very good either. I mean, he's playing better.
He wasn't the starter. It was Aaron Rodgers. He's just been pressed in the service game. Rodgers tore his Achilles. So
true. So speaking of the Jordan Love and the Packers, and we talked about it, Kirk Cousins tears Achilles. Before he went out, he had 274 yards, 2 touchdowns. Then Jaron Hall, he went 3 for 4, 23 yards. Kirk played 90% of that game as the final, late in the fourth quarter when he tore his Achilles. Alexander Madison, 16 carries for 31 yards. Cam Akers, 9 for 19 and a touchdown. KJ Osborne had 8 for 99. TJ, 6 for 88 and a touchdown. Jordan Addison, 7 for 82 and a touchdown. Addison's starting to make his name for maybe Rookie of the Year the second half of the season, I think. He's coming on. Jordan Love, 229 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 24-41. Again, everything's just underneath. I mean, the running game, Aaron Jones, only 7 carries for 29 yards. Pitiful. The problem was they got down in this game, so you have to abandon the run a little bit. A.J. Dillon, 6 for 11. Jaden Reed had 4 for 83. Christian Watson was nowhere to be found. Dobbs had 4 for 18, but he had the lone touchdown. Thoughts on Vikings, Packers, other than the Packers stink and Minnesota's going to start to stink if now that they no longer have Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, so the talk was when Justin Jefferson was ready to come back, he would come back. Now you can have that discussion again. Do you really want him to come back with this guy at quarterback? Whoever the backup is? I'd say no. And he's also on the last year of his contract. So I think with Kirk Cousins gone, I think Minnesota becomes also ran in the NFC. So
we probably just saw Kirk Cousins' last game in a Minnesota uniform.
You won't see Kirk Cousins till the middle of next year. It's going to be a year before he comes back. He's older. He's not. I don't know how much he's going to go through the rehab process.
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is making the same thing, and he's supposed to be back in 2 months.
Right, but if Kirk Cousins attacks it like Aaron Rodgers did, then I'd say, okay, he's got a chance to start next year. But if he doesn't attack it like Aaron Rodgers, there's no chance you'll see him before middle of next year. So, and I agree with you. He's done as a Vikings quarterback. So,
yeah. Well, even if he doesn't, he's going to be he'd have to go to his last game as Minnesota was today. I think Minnesota looks to move him next year, sign somebody in the offseason.
Yeah.
And go that route over bringing Kurtz back, because they're done. Like this is his last of his money, so they no dead cap for Kirk Cousins after this year.
Yeah, and I think they want to go a different direction. I think they've had enough of the Kirk Cousins experience.
There we go. Eckler touchdown, baby.
I will
needed
he
that
scored receiving or rushing.
Yeah.
So I will say this:
some break off one.
If Kirk Cousins can run that offense, he's familiar with that offense. Who are they going to sign to replace him? Who's going to be? And we won't know that till the end of the year who's out there. But if you can't find anybody better than Cousins, you might want to re-sign him to a 1-year deal or franchise him for 1 year and just see what you can get from him. So there's that too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. I think he played his last game in Minnesota. Let's get to our next game here. We got the Falcons Headed to Tennessee, the Titans were 3-point dogs, and me and Sam were the only two that took as Titans. Taylor Heineke, 12 of 21, 175 yards, 1 touchdown. Then had the concussion, was kind of that was Desmond Ridder, was 9 of 12 and 71, but Taylor Heineke outplayed him after the concussion. Bijan had 11 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown. He led the way. Drake London had 5 for 55 today. And you get into the Titans. By God, Will Mayo Levis looked like a guy today, Scott. 19 to 29, 238 yards. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, 22 on carries, 101 yards. DeAndre had his best game as a Titan, 4 receptions, 128 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Your thoughts here on the debut of Will Mayo Levis?
I was hugely impressed with this kid. He threw down the field. DeAndre Hopkins ran routes down the field, not like these five-yard outs that he was running with Tannehill. He went down the field, and Levis found him. I was highly impressed. Goodbye, Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
It was nice knowing you. See you later, buddy. I think Minnesota should be giving Tennessee a call tomorrow morning to see what they can do to get Tannehill, because it's done. It's done. Levis is their starter.
Let him come back when he's hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd love.
Oh, it's got to be.
Yeah, and I'd love.
I think they said Tannehill had 2 passing touchdowns before all season, and Will Levis just threw 4 in one game. That their offense looked more explosive. And if you're spreading the field deep down the field, you know what that did for Derrick Henry? Okay, now we can't put 8 in the box because we're getting burnt by Hopkins and everybody else. So then you saw Derrick Henry get going, 22 carries, 101 yards. All of a sudden, this Titans team, hey, maybe we can make the playoffs. You know, maybe it's not going to be all too bad doom and gloom like we all thought.
Yeah, and I said, Sam said we found our quarterback, and I said after his second touchdown, it's the Falcons. Wait a minute, and then he just impressed me even more as the day went on. So, forget about Malik Willis, forget about Ryan. This is the guy. This is the guy. So, for them,
yeah, I Will Levis looked great. If I'm the Titans, I'm pretty impressed. I'm happy. We'll get Sam's take tomorrow night on that. Yeah. On that game, he saw Will Levis up close and personal, but from everything I saw, hey, call me impressed. We all thought the kid was going to come out and stink up the joint, but he played well today, and they got the win. And hey, we'll see how it takes. That's Brock Purdy. After a while, maybe the league watches tape too, and sometimes you come back down to earth. And we'll talk about Brock here in a little bit. But.
And the other thing,
Craig says Case Keenum back to Minnesota to finish out the.
Yeah, they've signed Case Keenum. Is that what he's saying?
Oh, I don't know. No, he was just saying maybe that's a possibility.
Yeah, it probably is. He can't go with this kid. This kid looked lost. But, he's not going to be ready for a start in the NFL. So, and keep this in mind with Tennessee. Short week this week. They're playing Thursday night, I believe, too. I think I saw that on TV too. So.
Yeah, and that could be who they got next week. Oh, I don't even know.
I can look it up as well. Yeah, they're at Pittsburgh.
Oh, they got the Steelers.
Yep, so it's Trubisky against short week. Yeah.
That's a winnable game. You win that game, you're 4-4.
That's right.
That's kind of a big game for both teams because Steelers can't afford to go 4-4, and Titans are trying to get to 4-4. So it'd be interesting. Right now, Pittsburgh opens up as just a home favorite at 3, -3.
That's going to come down as soon as Pickett's ruled out. Probably Monday or Tuesday. That's going to come down to 10 to even, probably. So
yeah. Let's get into it. Your Patriots versus the Dolphins. Mac Jones was Dolphins win 31-17. Man, this Dolphins team is just fun to watch when they're not playing against good teams. When they're playing against bad teams, they look really fun and good to watch. Mac Jones, 19 to 29, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ramondre, 10 carries, 39 yards. Kendrick Bourne, before he got hurt too.
3. Yeah, he did.
36 yards and a touchdown. I think it was the MCL. He's been their best receiver. Tua, 30 of 45, only 5 incompletions for Tua today, 324 yards. I guess not 5, but that's 15. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Raheem Mostert, 13 carries for 46 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 7 for 121, 1 touchdown. Tyreek, 8 for 112 and a touchdown. I think he's healthy, Scott.
Yeah, my worry should have went away.
Welcome back to the NFL too. Jalen Ramsey had a pick 6 in this game, or he had a pick. I don't know if it was for a 6, but he had a pick in this game as well. So welcome back to his debut for the Dolphins. Jalen Ramsey as the Dolphins blow out your Patriots. Thoughts on this game, Scott?
Where the heck is Ramondre Stevenson? I have no idea what they're doing with him. He's their best offensive weapon other than Kendrick Bourne, and they're not using him. They're just not using him. I don't know what's going on. Zeke didn't get much run today, I don't believe. I mean, I'm looking at the stats now. Zeke got 7 carries for 36 yards. What's going on? Why are you not using this guy? He has 6.
Well, when you get down big like they did, though, it's hard to run. You know what I mean? You got to abandon the run.
No, agreed. But he caught 6 passes last week.
The Patriots can't do that.
You throw to him out of the backfield. He can break tackles. He's elusive in the open field. Just throw him like 3 or 4 balls. Get him going that way. Get the defense thinking he's going to catch a pass. But early and often in the games, you're not running him. 10 carries in 4 quarters. It's like 2 carries a quarter. Can't do it. You got to use him. And now if Bourne is out for any period of time, you have to use him.
There's just certain
Go ahead.
There's certain teams that though, once they're down 2 scores, just count them out the game. They're not coming back. The Patriots definitely one of those teams. Giants, Jets, a lot of. Some of these teams are Steelers. I feel like once they're down 2 scores, they can't get. There's not like they're going to come back and win. They just don't. They don't have the weapons, or they don't have the coaching in the Steelers aspects. I feel like. It just, Patriots, same thing. They don't have the talent enough to be down 2 scores.
They went up 7-0 early in the game. I was like, they're not winning. You just had that feeling all day. They're not going to control Tyreek. They weren't going to control Jalen Waddle. The game was over. So, kudos to the Dolphins. Credit to the Dolphins.
Yeah, what happened to the thing that Bill would stop? Remember when it used to be the adage that, hey, Bill's going to take away the thing that you do best. Well, you can't take away speed. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You can't take away speed. And Tyreek and Waddle have abundance of it.
Yeah, it seems like they beat the Bills last week, and they were partying all week and said, "Oh, we got a game this week? Oh, okay. We're gonna go play a game in Miami. That's our present for winning against Buffalo." No show. Complete no show. Coaching staff and everything. So
let's get into the next one. It's Saints-Colts. This was a back-and-forth game. Saints end up pulling it out 38-27 to get to 500. Colts fall now to 3-5. Gardner Minshew, man, he makes some great throws, and then there's some throws where you're just like, what the hell are you doing if you watch this team? Somebody said he is this generation's Patrick, Fitzmagic. I was like, man, that's kind of the same. Yeah. Derek Carr, 19-27, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns. Taysom Hill, 9 carries for 63 yards, 2 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara, 17 carries, 59 yards, and 1 touchdown. I'll tell you what, Rashid Sheedy had himself a game. 3 receptions, 153 yards, 1 touchdown. Olave had 5 for 46. Michael Thomas had 4 for 68. Colts-wise, Gardner Minshew, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jonathan Taylor had 12 carries for 95. Zach Moss, 11 for 66, did get the touchdown. Josh Downs, 7 receptions for 72 yards. Michael Pittman, 8 for 40 and a touchdown. Scott, any thoughts here on Saints-Colts as, the Saints kind of get this win to kind of get them back, try to fight for that NFC South division?
The Saints scored 38 points in a game. What the heck is going on? It's ridiculous. Rashid Shaheed. Derek Carr loves throwing to him. if you're in a fantasy league and he's available, get him. Because he has one or two of these games every year where he just gets thrown down the field. Drew Brees at the end of his career had him, I think. Taysom Hill throw down. The interception that Taysom Hill threw was intended for Shaheed. So he could have had a much bigger game if he made that catch. So, yeah, if you're in fantasy and you see him, grab him. I'm not saying start him, but at least have him on your bench. If you see a good matchup, plug him in because there'll be some good matchups. Atlanta, Tampa Bay, those teams coming down the stretch where you can use them as a bye week replacement. But I was thoroughly impressed. I thought they stretched the field, the Saints. I thought they threw to a lot of receivers. They got everybody involved. If they could play this way the whole year, they'd be a much, much more dangerous team in the NFC. But Derek Carr isn't reliable enough that you can count on him to do this. So, and the Colts, they stink.
Yeah, let's get into the next one. They do stink. They stink. Man, the Panthers finally get the first win of the season. They are no longer going 0-16 or 0-17. They get the first win, 15-13. Texans now fall to 3-4. Bryce Young wins the battle of picks 1 and 2. C.J. Stroud goes 12 for 24, only 140 yards. Jesus. Dameon Pierce, 12 carries for 46 yards. Devin Singletary, 10 for 30. Really, there's not a whole lot to talk about in this game as far as offense. Bryce Young did have 1 touchdown, 235 yards. Chuba Hubbard, 15 for 28. Adam Thielen, 8 for 72. Scott, thoughts on the Panthers getting their first win of the year?
Congrats to the Panthers, but it may be a while before they get another one. Houston is awful today. Awful. C.J. Stroud was terrible. Red zone kept cutting to this game, too, because it was so close. They kept cutting to this game with the Dallas game. Adam Thielen is played out of his mind this year. He's been really, really good for them. He was the best player on the field today offensively. There wasn't anybody else better than him. So, and that's saying a lot because he's what, 30, he's like 75 years old. So, it just comes down to the fact that Adam Thielen may be a player that gets traded at Tuesday's deadline. So watch that very closely.
I don't think so. If I'm the Panthers, you got to hold on to Thielen as long as you can. To me, Adam Thielen might be one of the top 5 best free agent signings this year.
He was like
in the offseason. One of the top 5 best.
His name was just a throw-in, like, Carolina signed Adam Thielen. He's continuing his career in Carolina. But he's been really good. He's been really great. So, he didn't get the 100 yards today, but he's been getting 100 yards here.
Yeah, we thought his career, he was going to Carolina where his career was going to die. Really.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's revived. It's revived. So he might get a mid-range contract in free agency next year. So
I think he signed a 2-year deal. Was that a 1-year deal? I thought he signed.
Him and Chuck signed 2-year deals. Maybe him and Chuck signed 2-year deals. But Bryce Young,
I think it was more than a 1-year deal.
It probably it could have been a 2-year.
That's all he looks for. It's not Adam.
Yeah.
If it's not Adam Thielen, it's damn near incomplete or something. Get into the next one. The surprising Seahawks, 5-2. Go to 5-2 as they beat the Browns 24-20. The Browns were winning this game all the way till late. Then the Seahawks defense made some plays. Interception that actually bounced off of Jamal Adams' head. It was a wild game. PJ Walker, 15 for 31, 248 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Kareem Hunt, 14 carries, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Amari Cooper, 6 for 89. David Njoku, 4 for 77 and a touchdown. The Seahawks, Geno, 23 of 37, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Kenneth Walker, 8 carries for 66 yards. Tyler Lockett, 8 for 81 and a touchdown. DK had 5 for 67. JSN, he had 3 for 36 and a touchdown. Scott, to me, Seattle's one of the most surprising teams in the league at 5-2, alone in the division, game back of the number 1 seed in the NFC.
I picked them to go to Super Bowl this year out of the NFC because I thought Philadelphia would have a hangover, but obviously that's wrong. But I think they get the NFC Championship game. San Francisco, I don't, and we'll get to them in a few minutes, but Seattle has some dog in them when they get down. Geno Smith doesn't have great stats, but when he needs it the most, he gets it. He's got two really good wide receivers. He's got a really good running back. Their offense is built really nicely. And I think Seattle, if their defense could ever be a little bit better than it is now, they could be in the NFC Championship game against Philadelphia this year. So.
You there? Yeah. Oh, yeah. My stream was cutting out there. But Seahawks, to me, look the chances you give them to win the whole thing, Scott, NFC-wise, to represent the team in the NFC.
I think it's 30% right now. I think it's Philadelphia or Seattle. I don't give San Francisco much shot to get into the Super Bowl this year, based on how they played all season long. I mean, they smoked Dallas, yes. But other than that, when have they been impressive? They really haven't. So to me, Seattle is, 25-30% to win the NFC. Get there. Get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think that right now I would favor them over the 49ers. And speaking of the 49ers, they lose their third straight game. Brock Purdy's now thrown 5 interceptions in 3 games. He had 2 today. Joey Burrow looks back. Roll. Burrow, 28 of 32, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, 16 for 87 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 10 for 100 and a touchdown. Tyler Boyd, 3 for 40. T. Higgins, 5 for 69. For the 49ers, man, it's just getting worse and worse here. Brock Purdy did not play great again, 365 yards, but did have the 2 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey, only 12 carries today for 54 yards, did have another touchdown. Kittle, 9 for 149. Brandon Ayuk, 5 for 109. McCaffrey also caught a touchdown. Scott, you've been kind of on this Brock Purdy's not the guy train for about 2-3 weeks now. What's your thoughts today on 49ers Bengals here?
Watch out, AFC. Here come the Bengals. They're back. Purdy can't play from behind. He's not a behind quarter. He can't bring your team back from behind. He has to be ahead. He's a front runner as a quarterback. And that's been clearly evident the last 3 weeks, is that he makes mental mistakes time and time again, and he just throws the ball where it doesn't need to be thrown. And today he did it again. So they got a bye week. They need to figure some things out here. I don't know what they do with Purdy. They have to start him. I don't like it, but they have to start him. They're like you say with the Dolphins. When they play a team that's below them, they play really well. When they play a team like Cincinnati or Cleveland or Minnesota on Monday night, they struggle. And sure enough, look at their schedule coming down the stretch. When you see them playing a Seattle or whatever, he's going to struggle. He's going to struggle. So, but the Bengals are back. Bodkins, Burrow, and the Bengals are all back again. So
we're back, baby. We're back. We're back. Hey, I'm all in on the Bengals. That's my team for the rest of the year. I just need to maybe get me a Bengals hat or something, because Jesus, I can't watch the Packers, so I'm all in on the Bengals. Craig says don't sleep on Detroit in the NFC. Yeah, I agree. Can't sleep on Detroit, even though they had last time they played, they looked like dog shit. So,
Yep.
We talked about at the top of the show, Broncos beat the Chiefs 24-9, ending a 16-game drought. And we're talking 16 games. These guys play each other twice every year. So it's been 8 years since they've beaten the Chiefs. Jesus. Mahomes, 241 yards, 2 interceptions, failed to throw a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, 8 for 40. Travis Kelce, 6 for 58. Rashee Rice, 4 for 56. The Chiefs receivers dropped some bad passes that, in the hands, just couldn't come down with them. Russ Wilson, 12 and 19, 114 yards, 3 touchdowns. Javonte Williams, 27 carries, 87 yards. Jerry Jeudy, 2 for 50 and a touchdown. Cortland, 2 for 29 and a touchdown. Scott, your thoughts here on the upset of the day, Chiefs-Broncos?
Yes, Mickey. Denver did win. Holy cow. They had to run Javonte 27 times because Russ Wilson threw for 114 yards. That's the whole thing. I mean, they didn't do anything that would make Kansas City crap their pants and say, uh-oh, Denver's doing something different. They did nothing different today. Russell Wilson, 114 yards, 3 touchdowns. Javonte Williams had run 27 times. I mean, the whole story of this game was drop passes. And I think Mahomes is going to start streamlining his passes now. Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco. That's all you're going to see from Kansas City. He's going to streamline it and bring it in and say to Andy Reid, those are the 3 guys I want to go to every play. Let's go to them. Let's mix in those other guys for 1 or 2 catches, 1 or 2 plays. But I'm going to those 3 guys every time. And that's it. I'm very nervous about the Chiefs right now. I know Tanner will say no, he's not nervous, but I would be. If Rice or Kelce or Pacheco go down. I'd be really nervous about what Kansas City's going to do in the game.
Yeah, if Kelce goes down for sure, we saw that on opening night. They didn't look very good. We've said this before. Outside of just 1 or 2 games, the Chiefs' offense just hasn't looked like it's clicking, and I think it's just they lack that playmaker at wideout. They don't have that. Rice seems to kind of slowly becoming that guy, but in a year or 2 he might be. But he's still a rookie. We have to remember that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But I think when Mahomes goes to Rice, he can. I know he's dropped some passes, but he hasn't dropped nearly as much as Tony. Sky Moore was abominable today. He was awful today. But you have to streamline it. And if you're Kansas City, I think you got to be looking. They mentioned it this morning. Mike Evans, maybe make the call to Tampa Bay and find out what it's going to take to get him. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know if Tampa will part with them based on how the division's shaken out, but if there's a chance you can get him, you might want to take a shot to get him. So.
Exactly. This is. The Chiefs need to go get. If Tampa Bay. If I'm Tampa, we're holding this thing together. You're right in there. Anybody can still win that. NFC South division outside of maybe Carolina. For the Chiefs, we'll talk about it on Thursday. But you got the fraudulent Dolphins and the Chiefs. Big, early Sunday morning show next Sunday. So that'll be interesting.
Yep, I agree. This is for the number 1 seed, Kansas City, Miami. Baltimore's in the mix too, but Kansas City, Miami is a really, really important game for both teams. So,
speaking of that, we didn't do the Baltimore game. Let me get to the Baltimore game.
Okay,
we got one more here. Baltimore does roll over the Cardinals, 31-24. Scott, we said it. Cardinals will play tough. Ravens will pull away late, and they did 31-24. 18-27, 157 yards, 1 touchdown for Lamar Jackson, 19 carries for 80 yards. More importantly, 3 touchdowns for my guy, Gus the Bus Edwards, who could be helping me beat you, Scott, in our fantasy matchup. Huge day. So I was rooting for all Gus the Bus today. Mark Andrews had 4 for 40 and a touchdown. Not much else going on in the receiving game. Zay Flowers had 5 for 19. We get to the Cardinals. Josh Dobbs, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 208 yards. Imari had 20 carries, 78 yards. And that was pretty much it. Touchdown by Trey McBride, 10 receptions, 95 yards. Marquise Brown, 6 for 33 and a touchdown as well. Thoughts here on Ravens Cardinals is it looks like Josh Dobbs, at least for another week, they said Kyler is not going to play next week, won't make his debut next week.
Okay, I'll steal a line from you. Welcome to the NFL, Trey McBride. Trey McBride's awesome as a tight end. Awesome. Much better than Zach Ertz, number one. Number two, other than take Gus out of the equation, the Baltimore offense was not impressive today. I mean, it's short passes, short dink and dunk stuff. I think they felt like they could go into Arizona and win the game by just dinking and dunking and running Gus Edwards 19 times for 80 yards and 3 touchdowns. So kudos to the Ravens. When they don't have their offensive game like they did against Detroit last week, they still managed to win the game. So that's a dangerous team in the AFC. That's a team you have to watch in the AFC. If you're Kansas City, if you're Miami, if you're Cincinnati now, Baltimore could win the AFC. They're going to cause a lot of problems with teams. So
they could be the number 1 seed.
They could be.
I have a lot of faith in them right now. Yeah,
I do too.
I think that to me, those are the 4. To me, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bengals. Bills. I'm not as confident on them. It seems like their defense is so beat up. You never know what you're going to get. But those 4 teams right now in the AFC, and with the Chiefs losing today till they get that second loss, all those other teams are thinking, hey, and then like we just said, Dolphins, Chiefs, the winner puts themselves, in the tiebreaker position, right? So
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
I don't know if Kansas City plays Baltimore. I know Miami plays Baltimore down the stretch. So that Miami-Baltimore game in week 14 or 15, whenever it is, could be for the number 1 seed. So
let me look at the Ravens schedule here.
Yeah, you're going to have to go through 2 of those teams to get to the Super Bowl in the AFC. 2 of those 4 teams.
Yeah. It's a gauntlet. It's going to be a gauntlet.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's important to win your division and get home field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're not having to play those teams. Craig says not buying on the Jags. I don't really know. Man, the Jags are tough. Their record is right there too, but I favor those other 4 teams more. I put the Jags maybe as the Bills. Like, hey, if they get in, anything could happen. For the Ravens, they got the Seahawks next week. How about that? That's a 2-5. 2 teams have 2 losses. Seahawks 5-2, Ravens 6-2. Then they got the Browns, the Bengals. Then they got the Chargers. They do play the Ravens. They don't play the Chiefs this year.
Yeah, they play the Dolphins, not the Chiefs. That I know.
Yeah.
So they got a gauntlet of schedule too coming up here. Bengals, Seahawks, Dolphins, just Browns. They got to play the Browns again, whose defense is pretty nasty. Yeah. So they got a gauntlet to go. But on what Craig said about the Jags, I don't believe in them either, because guess who their first round opponent's going to be in the playoffs? It could be Bengals.
One of these teams. Yeah.
I don't see them getting up to the number 3 seed. They're going to be the 4th seed in the AFC, which means you're playing the best wildcard team. Cincinnati or Baltimore is going to be sitting there waiting for you. It's going to be at Jacksonville.
Or Buffalo. Or it could be Buffalo.
Or Buffalo. Yeah. So, and Buffalo, they beat already. They showed they could beat them. I'm not sure they could beat the Bengals or the Ravens. So
Craig does say Jags are the easiest schedule rest of the way. They could sneak the number 1 seed.
Yeah, even though they have
a
easy schedule, I just don't buy into them. If Etienne's not running the ball,
I feel like they'll lose a game like to the Texans again. You know what I mean? There'll be some team that they shouldn't lose to, that they'll lose to, because that's and that happens to all teams, right? Like Chiefs shouldn't be losing it to to the Broncos last week. Bills shouldn't be losing to the Patriots. But anything can happen in the NFL. That's why nothing's ever guaranteed around here, because it's the NFL, and it seems like the teams are. There is no 09 Patriots teams where they're just dog walking everybody. You know what I mean? And even that team lost. So anything is possible on any given Sunday, and we're seeing it the last this year especially. Anytime you think a team is really, really good, 3 weeks ago, we thought the 49ers was the best team in the NFL, arguably. Now they've lost 3 straight. So that's just, that's what happens, man. At that point in time, they were the best team in the NFL. Now they're not the best team in the NFL.
You could pick out 2 teams in each conference that are Like in the AFC, pick out 3. Chiefs,
Yeah.
take out today. Chiefs, Dolphins, even though they don't beat great teams, and the Ravens. In the NFC, it's Philadelphia and Seattle right now, with Detroit close behind. We'll see tomorrow night what Detroit does, but and then it's going to fill in the rest of it. It's going to fill in, but the AFC, it's going to be those 7 teams that are in the playoffs. Oh, it's going to be a gauntlet the whole playoff. So
yeah, and I think the NFC to me is 3 teams. It's a three-man race. Seattle, the Eagles, and the Lions.
Yeah,
and I won't count out the 49ers. Really, I won't count out them, but they got to get some things right. You know what I mean? They could go on a run here, and then everybody forgets about this 3-game, season loss, and then be like, well, they haven't lost a game in months, because they can turn it around.
But I will say this about San Francisco: win the division, because if you don't win the division, you're going to see Seattle, Detroit, or Philadelphia in the first round, and that's not going to help you out at all. So.
Yeah. Let's get into the ad read, Scott, and then we'll do our dogs and turds of the week. Okay. When our community wins with us, we want to ensure you maximize your return on investment. Line shopping for the best odds matters, and that is why any profitable sports bettor needs to be using multiple sports books. Thankfully, there's never been a better time to get signed up, and we are here to connect you with the best promotion industry-wide. Using our link, signupexpert.com/let's talk. You can get access to all the sports books in your region, along with a review of each platform and its unique features. Most importantly, this page automatically connects you to the top promotions at each book, allowing you to start line shopping with an enhanced bankroll. If you've taken advantage of these benefits and support our brand, please consider signing up for our next sports book at signupexpert.com/let's talk. All right, Scott, we'll start with you. Who is your Week 8 turd of the week?
Well, it would be easy to go with one situation, but I'm going to go with another. The New York Giants organization is completely inept, completely awful, have no idea how to sign guys to build depth. Darren Waller is now out with the same hamstring he hurt last year, so he could be gone for 2 to 4 weeks with this hamstring injury. Does anybody have any confidence that they can throw the ball, even with their quarterback situation? Anybody have any confidence these guys are going to catch the ball for them? I have no confidence at all that their receivers can do anything for them. The Giants organization needs to build depth. They don't do it. They just draft these guys like Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson, Kadarius Toney, smaller guys, except in the Hyatt case. And then they have a group of slot receivers who are playing the outside. So, and today showed a lot. They choked that game away today against the Jets. They had that game won. All they had to do was make sure the Jets didn't get down the field, and they did. So they choked the game away. So my turd of the week this week is the New York Giants.
Yeah, I was going to go. My turd was going to be Gano, but my NFL Week 8 turd of the week is none other than the Kansas City Chiefs, baby. You only score 9 points, and you have a Hall of Fame quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. You have Travis Kelce. You have all this talent, and you only score 9 points. You fail to get in the end zone. Patty Mahomes doesn't throw a touchdown pass because his receivers were dropping balls, and they were dropping more balls than than teenage boys are dropping, So my Week 8 NFL turd of the week is the Kansas City Chiefs. Scott, who's your dog of the week?
It's CeeDee Lamb. He was immense today. He was a man among boys with those Rams secondary. 12 catches, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, throwing 12 yards rushing on an end around today. When he's on like this, he's uncoverable. You better hope he drops passes, because if he doesn't, if Dak hits him where he needs to hit him, he's gonna catch the ball. CeeDee Lamb is probably a top 3 to 5 wide receiver in the NFL without question. He hasn't started off good, but I think the last 2 games have shown that CeeDee Lamb is going to be the man in Dallas. So CeeDee Lamb's my dog of the week.
Yeah, my NFL Week 8 dog of the week is none other than making his first start in the NFL, Mr. Will Mayo Levis. That's right, 19 of 29, 238 yards, not one, not two, not three, but 4 touchdowns. The Titans almost scored 30 points for the first time in like 20 games, but they got 28. Will Levis leads the way for a Titans win. Will Levis is my NFL Week 8 Dog of the Week, because Will Levis, even though he's putting mayo in his coffee, today he is a dog.
Sam will be bringing him mayonnaise for his coffee every day now down in Tennessee.
Couple more games like Hopkins had today, he'll get that 1,000 yards receiving, and he'll have to put mayo in his coffee.
By the way, Sam asked if I was watching the Herbert game. I said it was on Zoom with you. I asked him about the Titans, about Levis. Shocked, stunned was his words. So he's completely shocked about this. So
yeah, I think most people were.
Absolutely. He looked like the best rookie quarterback in the NFL after today, right now. And that's saying a lot because it's one stat. We'll see how he does Thursday night in a short week, but if he does the same things against Pittsburgh, then I think Ryan Tannehill is gonna be sent severely down the bench. So I like the kid. I thought he had a lot of moxie. I thought he had a lot of presence today in the game. So
yeah. So we got the bet with Sam. He's got to put mayo in his coffee if DeAndre Hopkins gets to 1,000 yards receiving. Right now, after today's Hopkins' biggest day second biggest day, he had a huge day against Indy a couple weeks ago, where he had 140. He had 128, but he had the 3 touchdowns today. So that totals him out to 31 catches, 504 yards at the halfway mark. So if he can duplicate what he has done this first half of the season, Hopkins would get 1,000 yards. It could happen.
And keep in mind today, Minka Fitzpatrick for Pittsburgh got injured. So he might not play Thursday night. So that's even better for Hopkins if that happens, because Pittsburgh secondary after Fitzpatrick is not good. So any final thoughts before we get out of here, Scott? No, it was a good day of NFL. Other than the Kansas City stinker, I thought there were a lot of competitive games. So that's great. And morning football is back now. So
how do we do gambling wise?
A lot of prop bets I hit today. I had Adam Thielen over his yards. I had Bijan over his 48 rushing yards. I had Sam Howell throwing over 34 times today. Devonta Smith I put in. Kamara's receiving yards. So I had a really good day prop wise. Game wise, I didn't pick a lot. So I just didn't look like I picked the Patriots. They didn't cover. I picked Minnesota. They covered. And I have the Bears tonight. Getting all those points.
Bears ain't looking too good. It was 8.5, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I hit a prop that FanDuel put out of Burrow over 200 passing yards and either Chase or McCaffrey scoring a touchdown, and they both did actually. So I hit that. Doubled my money there. So that it was good. It was a decent day. So
tomorrow, what are you looking at prop wise on Monday Night Football?
I love Jahmyr Gibbs. No Montgomery tomorrow night. So Jahmyr Gibbs over under receiving yards is 27.5. He's going to get that with 2 catches. I don't think the Raiders are going to be able to stop him speed-wise. So I like that prop. Goff is over 270 passing yards. I like that as well. He's at home. He does much, much better at home. So I like those 2 props. I also like the Lions tomorrow night in a big way. I think the Lions are going to just crush the Raiders tomorrow night. So we may come on the air for the Let's Talk Sports, so it may already be 14-0 Detroit. That's how confident I am that Detroit's going to bury them. So
bounce back win for Detroit tomorrow night.
Yep. Hey, Johnny's up
after the beatdown the Ravens give. Yeah, hey Johnny, get healthy and tell the Dolphins, hey, don't be frauds next week as they travel to Germany and face the Chiefs. So, Scott, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, that's it. Just a great day of NFL, and looking forward to the Germany game next week and tomorrow night for the Let's Talk Sports show with Jim and Jonathan. So,
yep. My final thought is enjoy your teams when they're really good, because when they're bad, it's tough and it's shit football to watch, and you got to watch it because you love watching them, and they're your team. But man, going through it right now with the Packers, makes Sundays a little rough. And I missed good days when Rodgers was, when we were going into games expecting to win. Now I go into games probably gonna fucking lose. So there's that.
That's why Nick's the new Bengals fan. That's why Nick's on the Bengals now.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm on the Bengals. I still watch the Packers every Sunday. But man, it's going to be tough. It's tough. Yep. And kudos to the guys for teams who their teams have been bad like their whole lives, like the Jets fans out in the world, Browns fans out in the world. I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you do it.
No.
So
I don't either.
There's that. We'll be back tomorrow night, folks, 8:00 Central, 9 Eastern on the Let's Talk Sports show. You can catch it all right here on the Let's Talk Sports Network. Be a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe, share. You guys know what to do. We'll see you then. Let me hit that outro as soon as I find it. There it is. See you guys. See you tomorrow night.